me, let's talk about co-ops versus condos in New York City in 2026. Okay, so what is a condo? Condo is just real estate, like it is something that you can purchase, that you own outright, that you can trade, you can rent out. It's basic real estate property like it is all over the world, definitely in New York City, all over America. It's flexible, it's more liquid, meaning you could sell it quicker than you can with a co-op. So you ask, what is a co-op, Matt? Most dwellings, most homes for sale in New York City are going to be co-ops. Something like 80% of the housing stock in New York City is co-op housing. A co-op, they're going to be cheaper to buy and they're going to be cheaper to carry because in a co-op, everyone has the same goal, keeping a nice, safe apartment, home, building, and keeping costs low, which is a good thing. And they appreciate at about the same rate as a condo. In a condo, you buy the real estate, your name's on the title. With a co-op, you don't get that. You get basically shares in a corporation because the corporation owns the building and you get shares in that corporation depending on the size of your co-op, and then you get basically a perpetual lease, basically having access rights to continue living there. So that's what you're purchasing, and because that process is different than sort of like a condo, regular real estate, that process takes a little bit longer to happen when you're purchasing, and so that's what makes a co-op, less illiquid than a regular condo. So let me make you feel better about purchasing a co-op in 2026 in New York City. Like I said, most of the housing stock in New York City is going to be a co-op. So that means there's two sort of main things that means. That means that, okay, you have to apply. So there's a board application. Many condos also make you apply, but crucially, in a co-op, you have to have a board interview. So it's not that just you have the money or the bank approves you and you can purchase. It's more so that you fit in with the co-op that you're buying into. What that sort of process does, it stops randoms from buying into your building and turning it into, I don't know, a meth lab, turning it into an Airbnb spot, some sort of random spot where you don't know your neighbors. Co-ops are about community. Co-ops are about knowing your neighbors. Co-ops are about long-term New York life. If that's what you're looking for, then I would suggest you think about purchasing a co-op. The other thing that co-ops do is they are keeping costs low. Everyone in a co-op wants the same thing, a nice life, and they want you to have a safe life and want to keep costs low. They don't want to be dealing with people that are coming in and out, that are causing problems, that are increasing the cost of your maintenance, increasing the cost of your living for the building, and putting that burden upon you. Because the co-op takes such a close look at everyone who's coming into their building, it's not like they're going to let in, randoms who don't either have the funds or who don't have maybe the mental capacity to be a part of a community. Because ultimately, that's what co-ops are. It's like a community you're buying into. Like I said, it depends on the personality of the co-op, whether you're leaning in, whether you're leaning out. So it's about finding the right fit for your personality to the right co-op. And also, you know, people are keeping it cheap. People are looking to keep things inexpensive. They're not looking to add, you know, some sort of crazy gym, crazy rooftop, unless they are. But typically, that's not what they're looking to do at all. So let's talk about the whole co-op process. Okay, so typically most co-ops will have a co-op application. That means that you have to submit whatever they request on the application. Usually that's 2 or 3 months worth of pay stubs. Usually there's some bank statements. Usually there is a some personal some reference letters. Okay, so you gotta have some friends, some colleagues, some landlords write you a letter saying you are who you say you are. You're a good tenant, etc., etc., etc. They're all going to be a little bit different, but so that means that once you fill out the application, you submit it to the management and they approve you. They send it on to the board. And typically, if management approves you, the co op board will approve you. Not in every case, but in many cases. Most cases, I will say. And then there is the board interview. Now, let me make you feel better about the board interview. It's just some people getting to know you. And typically, if you make it that far, if you've passed the management scrutiny and you've passed the board scrutiny and they actually want to just meet you, that means that they just want to make sure that you on paper are you on the on in real life, that you're the real person. So it's just a little meeting, it's just a get together. We can talk about what a board interview entails, but roughly speaking, I just want you to feel better about that whole idea. And I want you to understand that it's not a big deal. In many condos, you're still going to be putting in a board application. So that part is going to be mostly the same. But in New York City, the co-op board wants to just triple, double check you to make sure you're not a crazy person. And you're not a crazy person. You're putting in a board application. You're going through the whole process. You're watching this video. So that means that you're at least a smart and conscientious person. All right. Ultimately, I want you to understand that a co-op is not a scary thing. In fact, it is actually a smart power move for you to do because, like I said, 80% of the housing stock in New York is already co-ops. Why would you cut that out of your world? Unless you're not planning on living in New York very often, or you want to buy something and then rent it out immediately, then I would say a co-op is maybe not for you. But if you're planning on becoming a New York City resident, if you're planning on being here in New York City for a while, if you're planning on, want to join a community, want to meet some nice people, then co-ops are definitely for you. I think that purchasing a co-op is basically a no-brainer for many people. I think that it gets a bad rap, but it is totally unnecessary. And you definitely have to pick the right co-op for your personality. Okay, let's talk about that. All right. There's many types of co-ops. There's large co-ops with hundreds, if not thousands of people, and there's co-ops that are maybe 2, 3 units. So all of those are going to be a little bit different. Obviously, in a building with thousands of people, you are going to be able to sort of lean out, lean back, and not be as involved. But if you're in a building with 2 or 3 units, or I would say less than 10, you're likely going to have to participate more in the decision making or the culture of the co-op. So that is a decision that you need to make based on your own personality, based on your own values. There's not a wrong way or a right way. There's just different ways. So how do you find the right co-op when you're looking and searching? Well, you deal with a buyer's agent that knows things, like me, and you have a lawyer that listens to you and talks to you. If you need lawyer recommendations, I got you. Reach out. But in that process of once you make an offer and then before you sign the contract, your attorney will look at the minutes, will speak to the managing agent, will start to get a sense of the life and the style of that co-op. You will speak with your attorney and you will talk to them about those issues and talk to them about what you value. And in those, that 7 to 10 days, it's called 2 weeks, you will be able to find out a lot more about the co-op you are buying into. So you're not going in blind. But that is assuming that you have a good lawyer who is doing their work and is going to talk to you. Lawyers come in different shapes and sizes, different communication styles. So you need to find one that works with you. Like I said, hit me up and I will steer you in the right direction for the right lawyer. But also, you should be working with an agent that knows the area, that knows the co-ops, that knows the buildings, that knows you, that knows what you're looking for. Uh, when you have those two pieces, a good buyer's agent working for you, not for the seller, and a good lawyer that listens to you, you're able to get a much better understanding of what kind of co-op you're getting into. That will make your life a lot easier once you actually move in and buy in and purchase shares in the co-op, purchase your home. Okay, let's talk about the dreaded co-op denial. It does happen, but in my experience, it only happens when someone, either the agent or the co-op itself, hasn't been honest with what type of person you are to the co-op, or what the co-op hasn't been honest with what type of type of style they are. But there's things that you can do. You can really get ahead of these things as well as you're doing the board application. That's where having the right people doing that board application, the right agent, the right team behind you doing the board application is critical, so that they can see what's going on in your finances and get ahead of any possible issues and flag any possible issues before it gets to that point. So ultimately, it happens. It doesn't happen that often. It should be nipped in the bud before it even gets to the co-op board. And if it does happen, it's likely a blessing in disguise. So, I mean, that's the sort of guy I am. I'm like glass half full always. So, let me know if you have any specific questions about that. But it doesn't really happen that often, and don't be afraid of it. If you've gotten to the point of submitting an offer, putting in the board application, it being approved by management, you're not going to get denied by the board unless you do things that are crazy, like come drunk to the board interview, or like be some sort of unprofessional jerk at the board interview. But you're not going to do that. You want to actually purchase this actual co-op. So I would say put it at the back of your mind. If you have any questions about the board interview or about the board process, please reach out. I'd be happy to tell you about it. Most of the housing stock in New York City is going to be co-ops. You're going to encounter them all the time. Do not be afraid. They are powerful places of community, powerful places of meeting new friends and investing in New York City in a new and different way. And, I would encourage you to do it. Reach out if you have any questions. I'd be happy to talk to you about them. And, if you need anything else real estate wise, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to chat. And if you want to know more about community New York City, check out one of these videos. It'll probably be helpful to you. All right. See you next time.